Randy Wilson podcast. I'm your host, Randy Wilson. You're here for episode 9. Before we get into introducing our guests, let's take care of a few housekeeping rules and make sure that we give support to all the followers, all the supporters, all the people who are providing the likes, and just being a part of supporting this platform in regard to what I'm trying to do. Right now, I'm in need for support, and let me go ahead and get your attention from the beginning on that. I'm seeking interns, we're seeking students, volunteers, and sponsorships, of course. If you've been paying attention to the Randy Wilson podcast and you've liked anything that you've seen, just reach out and be a supporter and learn and find out how maybe you can get behind and support in a bigger way, because right now all support is needed if it's good and positive. I want to make a special shout out to Voice TV down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I haven't been on the podcast lately just because I went down there and participated with some other people's podcasts, and that was really good for me as a learning experience and just learning from other people in the industry sitting around the table. So shout out to Voice TV. If you're not familiar with Voice TV, you can find them on Instagram. You can find them on YouTube. Corey Townsend is the curator of that, and he's putting on a lot of big things in Charlotte, North Carolina. But that's it in regard to that. Let's get into talking about our guest today. For some of you who are not familiar, our guest today is Radio B. And some of you may be more familiar with him just from a internet audience standpoint because you've seen him on episode 5 on the hip hop podcast. But for a lot of people in the Virginia and the New York areas, they're familiar with Radio B, the MC. Album out right now, brand new. Kill the Dreamer. You need to go check out the website. They have merch. It's on all music platforms now. iTunes, Tidal. Look, Jay-Z's messing with him. So you need to go mess with him too. He's on Tidal, okay? I don't even got Tidal. I can't. I didn't know I could get Tidal, okay? But I need to get caught up with that. Kill the Dreamer. We're gonna get into that. He has a discography of music though. Never Fell Off 2015, Whole Foods 2016, Jesus Never Wore a Suit 2018. I mean, I could continue going, but you know, I just want to make sure you understand that this is the curator of RVA Rap Elite. We are in Richmond today. You do see the city behind us. If you are a local MC, hip hop artist in Richmond, Virginia, and you're not participating in RVA Rap Elite, you're not meeting your obligations right now. You're not living up to putting yourself in a space of where you're really sharpening your skills with iron, because there's 30 brothers and sisters in there going crazy during the cypher. And I mean, it's getting a lot of attention. It was on CBS 6 News recently, and that's just the beginning. Shout out to Enso Media, who is shooting RVA Rap Elite. Enso Media is doing a phenomenal job. I'm familiar with Sam, and I didn't know that he was doing it. And then when I was like, oh, wow, okay. So shout out to Sam. Shout out to Enso Media. Also, right now, I want to put a special shout out to Full Motion Media, who's producing this film today. Also, want to shout out Journey 7 and Too Tall Visuals. These are all supporters of the Randy Wilson podcast. They are my first sponsors, okay? But again, we need more sponsors, all right? Need more sponsors. But again, Radio B, I mean, if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, you've seen them in a lot of different spaces when it comes to music. You may be familiar with the Southpaw Coalition battle rap scene. You may have seen him at the VMFA. You could have seen him at the Institute of Contemporary Art down at VCU. And I stress that that's a new venue, that's a new spot. He's done some special events in there for RVA's Rap Elite, but I just want to highlight that because I think it's very impressive to see hip hop be incorporated in VCU by people who are not of VCU. To me, that's special. The Hoff, the Dark Room, the Broadberry, the Camel. I mean, versus there's not a venue in Richmond that is not it's not open to being receptive to having Radio B come through and bless the mic. So with all further ado, welcome Radio B to our show today.
I appreciate it.
I try to give you that sway in the morning. I try.
Nah, that was awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, man. So, Radio, how did you get the name?
Well, originally my name was Blitz, and That was like my first rap name, and there was another Blitz from Queensbridge. They used to run with Nas. He was on Stillmatic, and we just, as time went on, we just were like crossing media, you know, paths and stuff like that. So I felt like it was gonna be either confusing or whatever the case. So I was like, all right, I need to come up with something else. And I, you know, the radio, the boombox or whatever, has always been like an iconic symbol in hip hop. So and radio in itself is just like, it's just one of those hip hop words.
Yes.
So it's just like, I was just always, I used to be in the back of my mind like, yo, I wonder why there's no rappers named Radio. So as I
Yeah.
started to think about changing my name, I incorporated that and just put the B for Blitz at the end. So
Yeah.
it's just Radio B. But I've been using that name for, I don't know, a long time.
I was going to ask you that.
2003 probably, something like that.
Okay. So, yeah, when I think about the way you described it is how I think about it. And I also think about when I was a kid sitting outside the laundromat waiting on my grandma out there with the boombox.
Right.
I think about MCs.
Yeah.
I think about Kool Moe Dee. I think about a time in hip hop when the radio is how we received our music.
Right.
And you're kind of one of those artists that exemplify the old and the new.
Right.
You know?
So it's like that's how it kind of, it's like a symbolic thing. So when you see a boombox, I mean, you automatically think hip hop.
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of my perspective. Like when we thought, like LL Cool J, I can't live without my radio type thing. You think of hip hop. So when people see me, I want them to look at me as like a physical representation of the culture.
Yeah. And they're definitely doing that. I mean, just based off the introduction, you can't really look around Richmond hip hop and not see something that Radio B is attached to. But we're gonna get into that. So, if you came up with the name Radio B in 2003, we're in 2019 now. How long have you been in this music?
I've been recording music since I started writing music, which would have been probably 98, 99. I was like 17. I was in high school.
Okay.
Myself, Michael Millions, he was going by a different name at the time. My homie Demise, we were in a group called Trilogy. And Illa Styles, he was in high school with us. He had just kind of got in the scene or in school recently from Philly. He had moved, and he had like studio equipment and stuff like that in his house. So he would record us, and that's pretty much how we would, record music. So, nowadays, like that's common, like people have home studios.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as common then. But we started that way. So we've actually kind of always
progressed together.
In that manner. So it's cool that technology has caught up.
Yeah.
In a sense, as we continue to grow, technology has grown with us to allow us to still be able to operate in that space. Because I very rarely, I'm not going to say rarely, I've definitely recorded in big studios, but not for like the bulk of my discography. The bulk of my discography was recorded in houses.
Mm-hmm. So, do you still have some of that music from the late '90s, early 2000s?
No, I'm terrible at maintaining physical things. So I don't. I have some homies though that do have like archives of stuff. So I always try to get with them when I can.
I seen Nicholas re-release some stuff that just. It's ridiculous to me to sit here and think like you just got music you sitting on and you could. You got some too though.
Yeah, I do, but my process is a little different. Like he's like, for every project he releases, there's probably 3 albums worth of material.
Wow.
For each project, sometimes he'll complete the project and then scrap the project and redo the project, and that old version of it is just like in a vault, like it's a whole album, and then it just go in a vault.
That's crazy.
See, with me, they know like I don't have a lot of like cutting room floor stuff. Like I keep it real slim.
Yeah.
So even the records I cut,
Yeah.
they have to make me cut them. You know, like
Gotcha.
Michael or Nick, or they'll be like, dog, we got to take some of these
Yeah.
records off. You know, a couple, like, you know, and it's always like pulling teeth for me.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I just don't. You know, if I do something outside of what's going on the album, it's probably a single, and
Yeah.
you're probably gonna hear it. But
Yeah.
there's usually maybe about 3 or 4 records for every project that I release that doesn't make the cut.
Gotcha.
You know?
Gotcha.
But it doesn't accumulate to something where I could say, yo, I'm gonna put out a whole project worth of
Yeah.
scraps. I don't.
And speaking of single, he has a new single out right now, King Kong, but he also has a new album out, Kill the Dreamer, and I didn't realize that King Kong wasn't on the album.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
dope single. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was just a teaser right there, basically.
Yeah, King Kong. I also put out the Too Many Mirrors single. Neither of those are on the album. Rare Form was a single that came out recently. That's not on the album either. But I knew what I was doing with that.
Yeah.
A lot of those records were one-off sonically. They don't really fit with the other music I was working with. But
I got you.
It's also strategic because it kind of gives me the ability to show range within the sounds and the content. So
tell me, so what was your early inspiration to get into music, and who were those artists or people or things?
To get into music and what artists I enjoyed early on are kind of two different things. I don't think it's like there's music that I liked when I was young, but I don't think it ever made me want to try rapping.
Mm-hmm.
I just enjoyed it
Gotcha.
as a fan. But then as I was in high school, I was starting to see people around me rapping, like at like ciphers in the hallways at school, ciphers at the football games, and just seeing it happen in front of me was what like really like sparked this thing in my mind. Truthfully though, I had tried rapping in the 8th grade, right? And I don't know what made me do it then. I have no idea what the inspiration was. It was very random.
Yeah.
But I wrote a rap, and I like telling this story because it's actually, I think it's something that people should take something from. So like somehow some other kids got a hold of this rap that I wrote, and it was like this literally the same day that I don't know why I brought it to school or had it in school, but somebody got it, right? And they just were like ribbing me on it, like reading it out loud and like joking me crazy. And like, it was my first rap. It probably was trash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I was getting like, and it was getting passed around, and it was like a thing for this day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, and then at school, I was like new in the school. So it was like, I was just having a hard time like getting adjusted, different side of town.
Yeah.
It was just different time. It was just difficult getting adjusted.
Yeah.
And like, that just didn't help. So like, after that, I never tried rapping again. Like, I never wrote another rap until I was like probably in the 10th, 11th grade, maybe 11th grade.
Yeah.
And I was 17, and that's, it's like first couple raps with my homie Kaneda. We were in like a study hall together, and he rapped, and I wrote like 3 raps like all at once. I was at home too, so I was already had it in my mind because I've been seeing these ciphers and I've been around these people that I went to school with their rap, so it was like in my mind. And then I was sitting at home, I was watching like MTV, and it was like this hip hop week, like that they were just like drilling like all the videos, MTV raps, and I was just sitting in my room just like, yo, I'm gonna try this. So I just sat down and I started typing these raps. So now, and I brought them to school with me. And I like
you put it to the test.
Yeah,
huh?
like I rapped them for him. You know what I'm saying?
I'm seeing
like,
the evolution of confidence from 8th grade to 10th grade. Now I'm seeing the application of, okay, I'm gonna take them back to school.
Yeah, and I'm gonna rap them for this one dude that raps that I think is dope. You know what I'm saying? And if he tells me, they cool, then they cool.
Yeah.
If not, then whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So I kicked the first one, and he was like, that ain't it. And then like it was like the second or third one, he was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, that's fire. Mm-hmm. And then you know, that just like kind of like sparked this like confidence in me, like, oh, okay, like he like it, like I could do it, you know what I'm saying? And then he ended up having, he was recording a project, a tape that he was putting out at Illa's crib, and he had me record that
So
verse.
Illa was like the Richmond DJ
He was like the
envy.
engineer. He was like the nah, like the well,
Like they always talk about it in New York.
Illa
Envy
was
was
like the
having everybody.
mentor. He was the mentor. He was the engineer. He was also the very very first bootleg CD man ever
He brought Philly to Richmond. He brought that
in
down.
Richmond. No, because literally, because we used to ride the same bus, and I was the one that kind of got him to come. You know, there's like always a hallway where like everybody be
Yeah,
at. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I was getting him like acquainted with people. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because I was like one of the first people that he met. So I was getting him acquainted with people, but he was the very first person. Like he told me of the existence of a CD burner. Like I didn't even know there was a such thing
Yeah.
as a CD burner. Like when he said it, it was like, what is a CD burner? And he had to explain to me like you can duplicate CDs and you can download. You know, I don't even know how you got the first CD. Like I don't know if you downloaded it to the computer. I guess so. You know what I'm saying? But however he was going about it, he was able to create these bootleg CDs
Yeah.
and was selling them in school. But he had like a code though. It was like certain types of artists he wouldn't burn. Like, you know, like if it was like a core like hip hop head artist like Most Def or Common or the Roots or something like that, he wouldn't burn. He wouldn't sell those. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But everybody else he would sell. But he was like the first bootleg CD dude.
Shout out to
So,
Ella
shout out to
Styles.
Illa Styles for
Word.
that. Like he was like, yo, he's low key trailblazed a lot of things in Richmond that people don't realize. So he's probably somebody you would definitely should talk to at some point because people would be surprised of some of the movements and some of the things that he's been instrumentally involved with.
I met him for the
over
first time
years.
at the RVA Rap Elite, and everyone who spoke of him have had nothing but positive things to say,
Yeah.
great things to say. He reached back out. He's already provided support, so I see that. Obviously,
Yeah, for sure.
yes, but you know, it's interesting. If he was that skilled at that age, then I imagine that it's probably ridiculous now. Is he still
Yeah.
running the studio at the crib?
No. He goes to mics to record just
Okay.
like I do for the
Okay.
most part. For what I know, I know he goes there at least some. I'm sure he, records other
Is
places as
Mike
well.
is
Mike has become that.
that's right, yes,
He
he's
is the.
but isn't his brother's really that, ain't he?
At one point for us, he was,
Okay.
but Mike, as far as like the Richmond, like as far as just opening up to outside of the circle,
Yeah.
it's like Mike. There's nobody that I know of that's like how Mike has been opening up his own personal space and recording and
Okay.
mixing and mastering. Like he's kind of like refined that skill and he's opened it up to where he does it for so many different people.
Gotcha.
Brand actually, I'm not gonna say that because Brand was doing a lot of projects too, but it started with us and then he was opening up to more people. But when Brand was doing it, for the most part, it was when he lived in Hampton.
Okay.
When he moved to Richmond, he just didn't have the setup to where he could open it up as frequently to people. But the people that went to him in Hampton, you had to go there.
I
So
got
that
you.
was like the thing. So he recorded us because we was hitting 64 like it was nothing. Like
Yeah.
I was down there every week.
Yeah.
But like for people in Richmond that wanted to get to Brand, it was like you had to be dedicated to wanting to go to Studio B. That's what we call it, Studio B. So
Gotcha.
you had to be dedicated to want to go there and record or whatever. So it was, or get beats because he wouldn't just email beats. So you had to go there to listen to beats and whatever. So it was dope because we felt it was like exclusive. It's like only we, if we knew if he was in Richmond, people be flooding them. So it's like, nah, this is like our thing. But if somebody goes out there, then they go out there. But Mike, as when Brand got back and he wasn't doing as much engineering, it was more of a need for it, specifically for me. And I remember when I started recording the Climb album, I was in need of that, and he was just like, I've been experimenting a lot with his own project at that time, Beautiful.
For the listeners out there who are listening, who may want to go check out both Mike Millions and Name Brand Music, I think is the IG page. But can you shoot out their information, because if I'm hearing correctly, if there are artists that are, let me make sure I understand this. If you are an established artist and you come to Richmond and you're looking to record, Michael Millions' name is going to come up.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
And so, how is it easy for that connection to be made if the artist is not familiar?
Mike is very open to artists, different types of artists. I know he does, most of the recording he does out of his home studio, and then he also does sessions at Good People sometimes as well. Okay. So he's very easy to get in contact with. He's very easy to work with.
We're gonna get into Michael a little bit more later because he's gonna be opening up for Nas soon.
Facts.
That's a whole nother situation. I want to keep it on radio, but if you are an artist that's paying attention to the podcast right now and you are from another city and you're looking to come to Richmond, you need to get connected with Radio B and Michael Millions.
Yeah, I think the thing with Mike and what he does with recording people's music and mixing and mastering is the care that he takes with it. And I think that's the biggest difference between what his quality of work is and the quality of work you get from your typical engineer, especially at a big studio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're working shifts. They're doing it for the money.
Does he love it equally with the rapping piece? I mean, it sounds to me, if I'm hearing correctly, he enjoys putting music together, creating music, making music, but he's also an incredible MC. He's a credible artist.
Of course.
Does one outweigh the other for him?
Well, his own music is gonna far outweigh his passions for engineering.
Okay.
I mean, that's just that's where we come from. I mean, everything else that we do outside of that is a byproduct of that.
Well, how often do you go outside of the family when it comes to taking beats?
Oh, beats
or music, or
Well, production. Let me be clear. Mike doesn't do production or beats. He only records.
Okay.
He only records, mixes, and masters.
I got you.
Artists. You know what I'm saying? From an engineer standpoint.
You probably can help our audience also better understand that.
Yeah, Name Brand is more known as a producer. So he makes beats. Yeah. So yes. So
education 101 for us there.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So to answer your question about that, yes, Name Brand is more so known for his production and making beats. Still, one of the best producers. Period. Especially from where we're from. And they're brothers. They're blood brothers.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. But Brand did used to do, and still does, but did used to do the bulk of our engineering and recording and mixing and mastering our music as well. And Mike learned a lot from him as well. And
that's a dope name in itself.
Collectively, they are Purple Republic Music Group.
That's dope. Purple Republic Music Group, Name Brand. That's real. That's real catchy too.
Yeah.
All y'all's names is obviously a lot of strategy, I'm sure, behind it, but that's real quick. I fell in love and learned about Radio B as an artist by attending Tuesday Versus. I don't remember when, but I can describe to you what the experience was like. I came to Richmond in 2003, and it wasn't quite that early that I recall knowing you quite yet. I remember when Versus was at Tropical Soul, and the majority of acts that you would see in Versus was going to be poetic or, songstress voice. There would be artists from time to time that would rap. This is just from my perspective, and they treated it more like, they responded to the mic more like a karaoke style, or they was singing other people's songs. I mean, they was rapping, but Radio B is the first artist that I seen in Versus as a hip hop artist that I was like, okay, no, but this is an MC. Like, this is someone who's just a little bit different than everybody else that raps in here.
Yeah, the thing about Tuesday Versus for me is, I've been, involved in going to Tuesday Versus for a very long time. In fact, when I first started going there, my name was Blitz. So they had to, Lorna, rest in peace, had to adjust to me changing my name. Like, that was like I remember that being like a slow adjustment. Like I still want to call you Blitz type thing, you know. So that just goes to show you, you know, like how long I've been, you know, involved or going to Tuesday
Yeah.
versus. So
Yeah, but I mean, and it still, as far as I'm concerned, it still to some degree is. I feel the same way as it pertains to. I mean, I go to verses frequently. I love verses. I love verses. But there just ain't a lot of radio B's coming through verses. I mean, I think that's where verses is. There's more. There's to me, the nights that you host brings that to verses.
right.
I wish that I could see more hip hop throughout the other weeks as well.
I think one of the things that, you know, as an MC that approaches the Tuesday versus stage is that you have to be mindful of is what they come for, like what the audience. It's like you always have to understand your audience no matter what kind of stage you're on. And I've always been pretty good at that. And because of my approach to rap is I want to embody all of the things that make a great MC. So I'm not pigeonholed in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So what I learned or what I understood about verses is that when they're used to hearing poets that are giving substance and that are speaking life and speaking, you know, from a space that pulls on emotion, and they're listening to live instrumentation and a band that's playing real music, like the last thing that you're going to be able to do is get up there in the middle of all of that and insert like your typical just like
Yeah.
rap, you know, that you might hear on the radio,
Yeah.
or just like some vulgar,
Yeah,
like
your temper's got to be your
braggadocio.
temper's got to be managed. Your frustrations, the energy, it has to be composed.
It's well, it's not even so much of that. It's just that it needs to be substance.
Yeah.
You can be as passionate as you want to be. In fact, the more passionate, the better. But that's what they're looking for. They're looking for substance. They're looking for something that they can relate to that doesn't sound like somebody's rapping at them. Like, oh, I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah.
Like, they're not there for that. They're there for a loving experience where they're hearing people's pain and, you know, triumph and like things that really matter. You know what I'm saying? And they want to be able to say, oh, I felt that. You know what I'm saying? So they're not here to hear how, you know, they appreciate your lyricism, but it has to be in a space that comes from life experiences and substance and, you know, emotion. They want that more so than they care about, you know, whatever it is you know, rapping to be
Yeah.
rapping type
Yeah.
of thing. And I think a lot of MCs go up there and they just be rapping to rap, and then like the crowd just kind of sitting there looking at them like, okay, cool. You know, the thing is they're gonna be supportive because that's what the nature of that venue
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
but it's different. I think they see somebody like me go up there and do Flowers and Bottles, or they see me do whatever, or kick a acapella, and they're like, okay, why I'm not getting that
Yeah.
type of response. But I can tell you, like, if an artist goes up there and I see them, you know, how first thing they come out their mouth with is gonna let me know how that trip on the stage is gonna go for them. You know what I mean? It just lets me know.
Yo, shout out to Tuesday versus.
Yeah, for real. The
and
longest standing open mic.
we're talking about 17 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Radio, why when you think about the upper echelon of MCs in Richmond though, why are we not getting them in verses? Like, there's other ones out there that we would love to see come in verses that could do that. I mean, there's some artists I can say, and I'm not gonna say their names, that I've never seen at verses.
Yeah, I mean, you never
That
seen Nick.
you would-
never
yeah.
seen Nick in verses. You never seen Mike in verses.
Why not?
You've seen them in verses, but you never seen them perform.
Why not?
I don't know, man. I've been trying to get those guys to come and do something at verses since I've been there. And they'll come out and they'll support me. You know what I mean? They'll come out and they'll just enjoy the atmosphere. But I feel like a lot of artists just don't feel like that is a platform that allows them to shine in the way that they want to shine in, maybe, or it's not comfortable for them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not that they feel like they can't shine.
Yeah.
It's just that they know they would have to, like, they feel like they would have to prepare it a certain kind of way, and they just haven't taken the time to be like, all right, I'm gonna prepare this for verses. So they just, it's just not, it never clicked to them as that I'm going here weekly kind of thing. It was just a thing that I come to on occasion. Or so it never. So to put that time and the effort to present it in a way that they feel like it's going to be received, it just never, I guess, was.
You know where I was going with it, though.
Yeah.
we we'd like to see those guys pop up in verses, and not only them. I could keep going. I can say that there's about 10 artists that was at RVA Rap Elite last time I went that I'd love to see at verses as well.
For sure.
But so radio, I want to get into the hip hop music here a little bit. I want to talk about Richmond hip hop, and I want to talk about hip hop, period. But before we get into that, let's make sure we plug Kill the Dreamer one more time. If you can give us plug the website and talk to me a little bit about the merch, because I see that there's a change. You're wearing some right now, but there's a new hat out there. I see Be Accountable, and there's a shirt as well.
Yeah.
Share that with us.
With the Kill the Dreamer brand, in general, it's really just a lot of the merch and a lot of the content that you'll see there is really just tailored to promoting what it takes for us to, as dreamers, as entrepreneurs, as people that are doing something creative or passionate about, or have a purpose of any shape, form, or fashion, and we're trying to push these things along. What are the pillars, and what are the things that we're going to need, or the inspirations or motivations that we'll need to get us through these processes, or what are the ethics that we need to use to manage that process and that journey. So with the Be Accountable hat, it's really more so, I really feel like that's a huge piece. Like that might be the biggest piece in any of this, you know what I mean? And I think that's one of the most difficult things as an individual that we have to do is be accountable.
Yes.
It's easy for us to, point the finger at other people, or point the finger at our circumstances, or say like, well, I can't, I wasn't able to do this because I wasn't afforded the opportunity to, or so on and so forth. But really, it's just a lot of times it's about us taking the accountability of saying, look, if I'd have put this much time into it, I would have probably got more out of it. Or, if I hadn't done this, I wouldn't be in this circumstance.
Yeah, self-awareness is critical. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times people can see everything on the outside of them.
Right.
And themselves is just, they're far away from being able to see themselves, their own issues, or even see right in front of them.
Right. So I feel like the hat is very simple, but I feel like it's one of those things that it's like a bold, even though it's a simple statement, it's a bold statement.
It's a conversation starter if someone see it, for sure.
Yeah. It's like if I'm looking at the hat and the hat says "Be accountable,"
comes with an expectation.
I'm literally telling you, it's commanding you. It's a command.
For some of you, be careful before you decide to purchase this hat.
Right.
It may bring you a lot of.
Are you being accountable? Like, you got the hat on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So somebody might say that. You're like, oh, be accountable.
Yeah.
Or, are you being accountable today? It's like, So
when you looking drunk as hell in the bar right now, sloppy.
With a be accountable hat on, it's like, all right now. Like, so, I and that's what I wanted. It's like, it's a way for us to keep ourselves accountable and also, keep other people accountable. And, so I'm hoping, I hope people utilize it, because to me it's all tools. You know what I mean?
I think that your merch game seems to be something that you've been pretty good at, knowing what to identify and how to put it out there. And I say that just because every time I see something I want, it's sold out.
Right.
So it's like it's stuff out there, but like there's things I want. Sometimes I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't have the money when I last saw it. Now I got the money to get it, and it ain't there because I was trying to get the Richmond on shirt.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to wear it today.
Everybody's been talking about the Richmond's own shirts.
Yeah.
That where I go through to get those done are a little different than the merch you'll probably see a lot of times with Kill the Dreamer.
I like that hat better than an RVA hat.
Which RVA?
Just any RVA, any hat, that whole brand.
Yeah, Richmond's own. I think Richmond's own is.
It's a better way.
it just has more.
I don't mind saying it. It's a
It
better
has
way.
more purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to just be like RVA, but it's another thing to say like, I am of
Yeah,
Richmond.
it is
I am
because I
something.
have a RVA sticker on the back of my Jeep, and like I got an RVA T-shirt.
Right.
But the only reason why I haven't bought a Richmond's own hat or shirt yet, just because I had to come to a full place of comfort before I bought it, because I've been in Richmond for
Right.
16
You didn't.
years.
Right.
But I ain't. I just got to a place, well, I think getting married for me helped me take ownership of Richmond, because before I got married, there was always the possible chance
You could
that
go.
I could go. Why do we?
Right.
It's never gonna happen now.
Right.
It's home now, and I've been here
Right.
just as long as I've been anywhere.
Right,
So
right,
it,
right.
so I own it now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Same thing for me, being from New York, but I've been here like the majority of my life. So I came here when I was probably like 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've been here for more than 20 years. And so I know that
You see how they hide their age though.
they can do the little bit of math I gave them. But yeah, so I mean, I know
No,
my
because
people.
if they go back to 96, 97 though. When you
Right,
was-
I gave them. Right, I gave it. Right, I gave it to
Y'all
you.
not
I gave
listening.
it.
Y'all not
I
listening.
gotta be paying
Y'all
attention
not
and get the
listening.
Easter
That's
eggs.
funny.
So, but I know people in my family in New York. They probably see on Facebook like how much like I promote Richmond.
Yeah.
And, being a Richmond's own,
Yeah.
and all of that. And sometimes they joke about it. When I go up there, it's like, oh man, one of my I think one of my cousins said to my brother, he was like, "Yeah, your brother's like the mayor down in Richmond or
Yeah,
whatever."
yeah.
So, but I my whole thing with that and Richmond Zone in general is I just feel like that's something that's been missing from Richmond culture is the pride aspect of being from Richmond. You always get this, the negatives
Yeah.
and what people don't like and what's
Yeah.
not here. And
Yeah.
and I think there's so much to appreciate about Richmond, especially now, from every aspect that you could possibly
Yeah, I mean,
think of.
from a geographic aspect, when I came here, it took me a while to know if, but what the first things I fell in love with, which if you're talking to a person from Richmond, particularly if you're talking to a black person from Richmond, when
Right.
I say what I'm going to say, they could be like, yeah, that's why it's something different with you. But I fell in love with the river first. Like people, look, I can get very few of my friends that are black that go to the river.
Right.
They like, people die in the river. Look, man, there's river. People die everywhere.
Right.
River, but in a lot of cities, rivers come through and businesses created, and it's a lifestyle. And I love the river.
Right.
I love the river. I can get to the ocean. I can get to the mountains. I can get to that's what
That's a fact.
that to me, that's what makes Richmond very special.
Right.
The
Absolutely.
geographic location. It's a reason why it's the north of the south.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. I mean, it's just so many things, and it's like the ability of the creativeness of the people in Richmond, the entrepreneurship of people in Richmond. It's just so many things. It's so much to do. Like that's the thing is like people are like, oh, there ain't nothing to do in Richmond. It's like, yo, there is tons of things to do every single weekend in Richmond. Now, it might not be your biggest club scene, or it might not be, a sports team here. And I think I always said that too. I feel like the lack of a sports team, a major sports team in Richmond is one of the reasons why you don't see that type of pride or people get behind like artists or anything like that, because they've never known to collectively rep Richmond, like to say like, I love the Richmond such and such. It's like that's that's
like
that-
BCU or U of R or things like that kind of bring people to Richmond, or
Right.
jobs might bring people, but sports, entertainment, that's a big deal. I think with cities though that are like Richmond that used to be like Richmond,
Right.
but then they grew, the infrastructure of highways and
Right,
surrounding areas. That's another piece I feel like that I think it's happening now, but I think the continuation of those things happening, whether it's Short Pump or Chesterfield or Henrico,
right.
that will strengthen Richmond
Absolutely.
also.
Yeah, I mean, it's so many things. There's so much growth that's happening in the city, and so much awareness and things like that. I mean, some of it's, most of it's good, some of it's bad.
And if you don't know, look, Richmond is it's heavily documented as being a food city.
Oh yeah, man.
It was recently referenced in Forbes for being a hidden gem for in the underground hip hop scene. Forbes magazine wrote that.
Oh, underground music in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Richmond's Own right here. We with Radio B. This is the Randy Wilson podcast. Um, Radio, give me your take on the climate of hip hop in Richmond and in Virginia right now. And I'm interested if there's any particular artists out there that are younger, like coming up right now that you see that that are possibly you feel like they're really making some power moves. And when you think about them, think about yourself at that age, with what they have exposed to them now.
Right.
Whether we're talking about a young Prince Charles or, like think with what they have now, what they can do in the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think right now, specifically, Richmond hip hop is at its peak. I say this all the time. I feel like it's never been a time where Richmond hip hop was better in an overall perspective. Now, you may have had
No, I agree.
individual artists here and there that did things that that are a little bit beyond what's happening for any one individual artist here now. Like, there's nobody here right now, with this like a major record deal that's really making, those types of, or big hit on the radio that's making those types of waves. But if the underground or independent scene and hip hop scene in Richmond is like incredible right now.
As a collective, it's a culture.
As a collective, and I mean, there's so many events. There's so many different types of events and venues and artists and styles, and from young to old, you just have so many people making moves and so many people, making quality music, and it's just incredible. It's almost overwhelming.
You spoke about it before. I mean, there's a lot of artists in Richmond right now that you see traveling and on the road, and even just in their social media, they're dropping drops of Richmond across the world right now.
Right. And as far as like young artists, Mutant Academy is doing an incrable job.
Mutant Academy, I need to check that out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Fly Anakin, Annie Low, Big Kahuna.
Oh, is that that's their thing? Is Mutant Academy their thing? Because I'm familiar with Fly Anakin.
Yeah, Mutant Academy is the collective.
Gotcha.
So like AGM is a collective.
Yeah.
Then Mutant Academy is like, they're like in our lineage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're like the next.
Yeah.
Of, some people look at before us was the Super Friends. And then there's us, and then, it's Mutant Academy and. But they're just, they're blazing their own trails and just doing so many things that are getting, national awareness. Fly Anakin just got shouted out by the producer Madlib, as he tweeted him, said he was one of the illest MCs out. And that's huge. Madlib is a legendary producer. So Anakin's young, he's got a mural up as well with Obliv. Obliv is doing amazing things as a producer.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like I said, it's just so many things going on and so many people doing so many dope things.
The reason people look at you though is like the hip hop mayor, Richmond mayor. The reason why is evident in what you're doing right now though. Very few times do you ever sit down with an artist or a person, period, who's willing to empower and uplift other artists and other people. Most of the, I talk with a lot of people, and most of the time they're just talking about themselves, and they like to hear themselves talk. But like, you'll sit here and big up, people, and you'll talk about people. I'm telling you now, most people don't do that.
Right.
And that's why, regardless if it's your folks in New York, because if they're listening right now, and hopefully they are, people in Richmond are saying the same thing about you as it pertains to. You could run for political office.
Yeah, I hear that.
You could. Lot. And the question is going to be at some point when you will, but we can put that on, because even with your platforms, there's so much opportunity right now on behalf of how you can leverage that to drive like community initiatives or talking about uplifting the youth.
And I feel like that's a better space for how I should use my influence as it continues to grow. Me right now, there's things I want to do, but I'm also aware that like you have to kind of like build you gotta do what you gotta do
Yeah.
to make sure that you have the resources to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking my time and kind of doing everything in steps. Spending a little time focusing on this part of it, whether it's Southpaw Battle Coalition or because I even had to realize that I wear 4 hats
Yeah.
consistently in hip hop alone, not personally, not
Yeah.
family, not any of those things. Just in the hip hop aspect of what I do in the city, I wear, or not in the city, but just as an entity, I wear 4 hats as a MC and an artist for my own self as Radio B, and then within that space, I have what is Rap Elite, where I create a platform for other artists that are MCs for them to perform and be highlighted and seen, and that's a layered thing because it's not just an event. It's an event. It's a social media presence. It's a YouTube show that we've created, which I want to talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah.
And then there's me as a battle MC.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different thing as an artist and as a platform builder. And then I own Southpaw Battle Coalition, which is a battle league. So it's like those are 2 totally different hats.
Sound like 4 hats and 3 bags, man.
Well, I don't know about the bags. It sounds like 4 hats and 3 potential liabilities. And when I can get out of the red in any, maybe RVA Rap Elite is probably not in the red, but Southpaw Battle Coalition has probably cost me more than it's made me. But my whole thing is,
But just put Richmond on the map.
Yeah,
as it pertains to
right.
The battle
Yeah,
scene.
absolutely. I think people used to say like, because Smack's been coming here a lot, and
I saw you on the interview that was done, I believe, as well after the last time it came.
Yeah. So I've been involved with the recent events that they've had, and I'll be battling on Smack here in Richmond on Sunday. And people when they
What
first,
time is that?
I think it starts at like 2-3 o'clock.
Okay.
It's at the top.
Okay.
I think, a lot of people used to be like, oh, Smack's coming here is because of what y'all doing with Southpaw. And, I didn't really want to take that type of credit for it. But when I look at how it happened, we are very instrumental in what led them to find Richmond as a market.
Yeah, I think you are completely responsible for it because I had to ask you before the podcast because I wasn't sure. Like, you own Southpaw Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the social media and how that's kind of came across through the internet was so professional that I didn't know because I thought maybe it was coming here. So, so the fact that Smack has came here, they didn't come here before.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we were the first place that Smack. I'm not gonna say the first place ever, but
I mean, you guys bringing artists from DC and everywhere else here for Southpaw.
Right. Yeah. We brought JC from Detroit. That was our first event. Well, not Detroit, Flint, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's definitely been.
Can we see another? Southpaw Battle Coalition?
I'm wilding. JC is not from Flint or Detroit. JC is from Pontiac.
Okay.
Pontiac, Michigan. Let's get that very clear. Like I am. It's been a long morning.
Got you.
But yeah, so I mean, I think what we've done with Southpaw has been incredible. We just had our first 100,000 view battle that happened in just less than a month ago with OG Moon and Bravo versus the Goonies, New Jersey Twerking Drugs. Great battle. And yeah, I mean, we've never had a battle that had that many views, period, let alone within that time frame. So it's been good. One of our other artists, Ray Manley, just recently battled on Smack this past weekend. He did really well. So, I've been making my plays on URL, and
Yeah.
that's been going successfully. OG Moon has made it to the main stage on
Yeah.
URL. So we've definitely been making some noise
Yeah.
for Richmond. And there's a lot of Richmond artists actually that are on Smack. Mad Face, shout out to Mad Face, shout out to Jack Boy Maine, Jay Moore. So Richmond is definitely making its strides.
When will we see another Southpaw
Southpaw?
event? Yeah.
August 17th. We're still trying to solidify the venue for
Gotcha.
that.
Okay.
But it's school days. That's our Southpaw versus Southpaw event. So it's like
Yeah.
our home event where we have people on our roster that battle each other as opposed to
Gotcha.
bringing other people in. So
Okay.
it's one of my favorite things that we do.
Yeah. Let's get into the album, Kill the Dreamer.
Yes, New Independence. So Kill the Dreamer Volume 1, New Independence. I originally just released it when I launched the website, killthedreamer.com. So it was only available to download there all the way up until yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday is when it became available on all streaming platforms. To me, it's one of my best projects. If I'm not gonna say my best, Mike, when we were finishing the mixing and mastering, he felt like it might be more impactful than Jesus Never Wore a Suit. I don't know about that because I feel like Jesus Never Wore a Suit. It did some things for me that I probably would have never even imagined a rap album would do, like having me being able to lecture at Virginia Union and different things like that. But it definitely does have the potential to be impactful or just as impactful or more impactful in other ways.
Yeah.
I do think it's one of my best pieces.
I mean,
of
it's
work.
interesting you say that. I've watched people ask Hov the same question. Some people say Reasonable Doubt. Some people say The Blueprint.
Right.
Some people didn't like this album, that album. But at the end of the day, that's the whole beauty of art.
Right.
That regardless of where you sit, you're entitled to see it how you view it.
Right.
I mean, for me, I haven't been able to get deep into it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wide open to whatever it is. But every album has had something. Like I still like Whole Foods. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it just
And Whole
teaches on.
Foods.
I think that built. I'm interested. I think that built Jesus Never Wore. You see, to me,
Well,
you see it.
See, I know on like the platforms, on the streaming platforms, it says like Whole Foods is like 2017, but in reality, Whole Foods was 2013.
Okay.
Now, I do feel that Whole Foods built a lot of what I do today.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the projects that shifted me, especially in the Richmond hip hop scene. It changed how people view me.
Yeah.
It was a very pivotal project for a number of reasons. One, it was very potent. It was straight down the line. It was, when I say that, I mean like the production was just like core, like vintage, like hip hop feel. And that was what the purpose was. But it also had these ciphers where I took, a lot of the dopest MCs from the city. And so I had broke them up into like 5s and 6s, and there was like 3 or 4 of those ciphers on one project. So they came in as like interludes, but it was all over the same beat. And I think that played a big part in how that project was received. And then the final cipher, I mean, was me, Mike, Nick, and Lonnie B. And nobody had got a Lonnie B verse in who knows how long. So that was like a big thing, and that record still circulates a lot.
Yeah.
On Tidal, it's like one of my top played records, which is crazy. But yeah, so I mean, that project, and I think that's the other thing. This project, in sound and production and feel, is most like Whole Foods than any other project.
Okay.
So it's produced, because Whole Foods was produced mostly by this producer named Cashby. And that was like when I first became introduced to him. And then, of course, we've had our relationship over the years. But this project here, he did like probably 8 out of the 15. So it's like it's built around his production once again. And it's some of the same the outside producers are some of the same producers from Whole Foods, so it has that Whole Foods feel.
Yeah, that intrigues me really there.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the ciphers
Gotcha.
on it, but as far as everything else, I think it definitely gives you that same kind of feel.
And what features do you have on this album?
Michael Millions is on there twice. Nicholas F is on there, and then Trademark is on a record, and then Angelica Baylor.
Oh,
which
wow.
is a
Yeah.
regular, my regular outside of Trademark. Trademark is a new one, but outside of that is my core.
Yeah.
My core. The people that probably
Yeah.
featured the most.
And shout out to Angelica. She's I seen her with Genuine and Mace recently on stages.
Yeah, so she's been a backup singer for Genuine for many years though. Many years. She's in like a corporate band now, so they do a lot of big gigs and stuff like that. But she's been
shout out to her. Because she's also another person who I've first seen at Versus. It just shows you the caliber of talent that comes through Versus.
Absolutely.
And people doing big things. So
yeah, she's incredible talent.
Trademark. I just became familiar with him at the RVA Rap Elite.
Right.
It appears that he drops something like every day almost.
Yeah, he's been on his campaign as dropping freestyles on like IG for like he's like 44 days straight now.
Yo, I mean he's got some serious. Trademark, I definitely want to have Trademark on the show at some point.
For sure.
Now, let me share this with you, Radio. I mean, I'm a little guy, man. This is episode 9, we going. We not quitting.
Right.
We'll look back at 9 and hopefully have you at 29.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Like, this is really just the beginning. But what I was telling one of my friends the other day is that I was actually telling my cousin this. I mean, I have respect for music. I have respect for art. But I have to be honest. I can't sit down and podcast with people who can't talk.
Right.
Which makes you one of the best people to have on a podcast.
I appreciate
you know what I'm saying? Because we can talk so much beyond the music, but like that's why y'all gonna see him as mayor. But he has a very broad. But I'm not saying like I have this is the beginning, so I'm not trying to put myself on any pedestal. But I think it's important that the caliber of artists I have on the podcast, I have you on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? My artists, I have to like I'm old now. I'm consider myself getting older.
Me too.
So I have to really be able to connect with the music, or if I don't connect with the music, I got to learn from the artists.
Right.
Why I need to get connected because they're probably the future.
Right.
So it's got to be one or the other. But so a lot of artists has been being very supportive, and they talk about they want to go on the podcast, and I can't not respond to anybody.
Right,
I'm trying to build an audience, but I'm also trying to build an audience at a caliber that you want to be on my podcast because you've seen Radio B. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You've seen Anthony Morrow, you've seen Young Money Yon, you've seen, people that's reached a certain level of success. And I haven't even reached a level of success in podcasting that they have in their artistry and their music and their brands. But it's a reason why they're working with me because of this professionalism and seriousness
Absolutely.
I'm taking with it.
Yeah, and I think, it's just when you're in a space like this, and I think it's important that you're speaking with somebody that can open up the conversation and vary the conversation. That's why I was excited about doing this, because I knew that it wasn't just going to be, your typical 1, 2, 3 questions like that are, anybody could ask.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, I definitely take a lot of time to think about who I'm talking to, and we've already been in an hour, so I'm gonna try to close this in about next half hour, because I recognize and respect my listeners that their attention span is so small. But man, I could have Radio B back for we talked about it at 10, 11, 12.
For sure.
The bigger picture of it all is that this is just the beginning of, like my vision with my podcast is that I'm gonna, be a podcast that's going to be in a room to cover an event, or that you're going to want that interview.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a bigger picture. So just identifying with the RVA Rap Elite or any other, organization or movement that's moving in a successful way with it.
Right.
I'm moving with them.
Absolutely.
I can't move with you if you just put in freestyles on Facebook,
Right.
and you calling yourself You gotta take it serious.
Absolutely.
It's time and money to invest in people, and that's what my whole goal is. My goal, the time. That's why we need sponsors, because I need sponsors to support Full Motion Media to help me out.
Right.
Because my investment in the artist and the person is that I feel like if I'm pushing them, I'm doing my job,
Right.
and I'm growing in the process of who's growing.
Right.
You know, so
Absolutely.
I mean, I definitely appreciate you being on the podcast. When we talk to Versus about anytime, man, we can own. I'm interested, I'm interested in bridging connections, because I was thinking about with Derek, with just music videos, commercials, events that we can do around Champion Brewery. Like if there's something that you got a vision or an idea about that you could see the podcast incorporate into, it doesn't matter to me.
Sure.
I'm wide open.
Absolutely.
I'm wide open to that. But going back, I don't want to get too far. Can you tell me what got you in the creative space for the new album? Like how long did it take to make this album, and what was the inspirations? Like
this album came along a little differently than most of my
this
projects.
one surprised us. I don't know if I don't think we was prepared for this one.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, okay, so
because RVA Rap
there's a
Elite's
lot,
moving so strong.
There's a lot to unpack about this project concept wise that I think is a little underplayed and probably wasn't communicated in as an effective way as I typically like to communicate.
I mean, you did it like Beyonce.
Yeah,
it's all good.
You
just popped up on it.
Yeah, with the pop up. I think all right. So this project, as I was putting it together, it wasn't put together like intentionally as I've put together like a Jesus Never Wore a Suit or Never Fall Off, where I'm about to make an album, and I know Mike always knows, like, yo, I got a name, or I know I'm about to make this album, and I start doing these songs, and then I'm just building songs for this album. Like Mike knows when I'm in album mode, I'm in album mode. For this project, I never really got in album mode. What it was over the last year or so, I had said I was going to do a bunch of different EPs with different producers, and I also had said I was going to work on. So I guess this is one of the reasons why it kind of sounds like Whole Foods is I was going to work on I was collecting production for Whole Foods too. And then I kind of scrapped that idea, but I was still working with Cashby. We were working on a number of projects. So I was getting a lot of production from him, and then other production I was getting from other producers, or production I had kind of was in that same range. So I just was doing records. And then I'm like, I had this idea.
How many tracks?
There's 15.
Oh.
But it's still not that. It's still less than 40 minutes.
Wow.
It's like 38 minutes.
Just bars.
Yeah, it's just bars. It's bars. It's just a feel.
You didn't need a hook for the shit.
There's some hooks on there. You'd be surprised. It's funny because it's like there are definitely some records that just rap straight through. But
shout out to Hove. That was one of the.
Oh yeah, that was
the track, man.
American Gangster was one of my favorite Hove albums.
I was fortunate. I saw Hove at Love when it was Club Love. I was sitting. It was me and Tamir.
Was it the American Gangster?
Yes,
I was there.
Oh man, I feel like everybody.
He wasn't supposed to perform that night.
Oh,
like he was just supposed to do a walkthrough.
That was the most surreal. I've been to like 4 Hove shows.
I've been to 6.
That was the most. Dang, you got me.
Yeah,
yo, you got more bags though. I mean, you got 3 of them. I told you got 3. I got 1 right now.
And I mean, the best one I've been to though, the best Hove concert I've been to was the B-sides. I won the title contest.
Oh, you went to the first one?
Yeah, the first B-side.
Oh, okay. Because I know you was in the competition.
I got robbed for the second one. We're not gonna get into that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But he had a lot of likes out there. There were a lot of views on that video
Blaze,
you submitted. Yeah.
Just Blaze commented on it.
Yeah.
Elliot Wilson, Ain't No Jigga.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people commented on that.
So at first, your best Hove show was where?
B-sides.
B-sides?
By far. Yeah, because I mean.
Mine was at the Hampton Coliseum when he was supposed to be with R. Kelly. I don't know. I think it was just Hove. I saw. Yeah, but that was probably mine.
Yeah, I mean, I went. The B-sides one just because of the records that he did, because of how intimate.
Yeah, I mean, and it was in New York.
And,
yeah, that would have to be the best one. But
and
that
then
DC,
he had brought out, and he brought out state property,
Yeah.
like Beans and all of them, like, and that was just.
Did you have a
like,
good seat? Was you in a good spot?
I mean,
there?
it was all standing room, so it's like, yeah. I mean,
You was close?
everything was close. There was
Yeah.
because it was such a small venue. It wasn't like
How'd you get in there, man?
a title, like you had to submit a playlist.
I knew you was connected to Tidal.
No. I was just one of the first early. I was like, I definitely subscribed to Title early, and that you could just submit playlists.
Man, we were struggling. Like the fact that you just like that speaks to your music, your radio head. Though, like I've not got Tidal yet because I was mad at Hove when he dropped the album on Tidal, and you had to have a Sprint phone. It just seemed so complicated and stressful for me, so I never went to Tidal. Do I need to join Tidal?
Yes, you need to join Tidal. Before there was a Sprint deal, you should and everyone should have supported Tidal and should support Tidal for a number of reasons. One, they pay the most for streaming of artists. When you stream my music on Tidal, streaming period is just bad pay, but if they pay the most though.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's just a black business. It's like, it's one of the things at B-Sides, one of the freestyle he kicked. He's like, everybody was like, oh, well, Hove got enough money. Like, I don't have to support that. But he's like, yo, you don't say that about Phil Knight when you're buying all these Jordans, or you don't say that about Apple, or, I'm saying, all these other companies that we spend our dollars with that we know are getting billions upon billions of dollars, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we say that about Jay-Z because he a black artist, and we don't feel like we need to give.
He making me feel real guilty, and he made me feel guilty when he said that also. I thought about it then.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that, we have to change our thinking on.
Yeah.
I said that. That's one of the things I say in the intro to Kill the Dreamer is skip black market. We need a black market, spending money from our hands to our hands to our hands to our hands. That's the only way we can be equal. Till then, we getting railroaded. So like it's literally, we have to create an element of where we're spending money. With us.
You gotta
supporting us. We have to get past that.
Yeah. Man, I got so many questions here, and I know we ain't gonna be able to get into them all. So I'm gonna kind of move forward a little bit here, okay? But definitely, Kill the Dreamer, 15 tracks, 45 minutes. I mean, now that I know that's on all channels, it will definitely, because I stream a lot of music because I'm always listening to something, and right now my focus is pretty Virginia channeled. So most of you guys who know I like your music. In the gym, cutting my grass, wherever. Right. I'm streaming a lot.
Dope.
So I hope them checks are coming through. Let's a couple quick questions I want to throw in here real quick. When you're in New York, is there any spot specifically that you rock out, or you like to rock out, or that you feel like when you go back home, that venue, that spot is home for you?
It's difficult for me because I just have to say Tuckahoe, New York, and that's just because that's where all my family is. So it's like a lot of times, and I feel guilty about it because a lot of times I don't get to go to New York and just be in New York. Like I haven't been able to just do that in years. Like every time I'm going, I go up for a family thing, and like they're like, "When are you leaving?" Like tomorrow. Like, and they're like, it's like it's almost.
I understand.
It's embarrassing though.
No,
like,
I understand.
It's like I literally be up and back. Like That's
how my folks are too.
We went for my dad's birthday last, and we went up that day. We went up in the middle of the night, got there that day, and then after the party.
Left.
We just left. We were gonna stay overnight, but we were like, yo, if we go back now, we'll be able to like actually, even if we sleep all day tomorrow, at least we
get rested up.
We'll be at home already. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like go to sleep tonight, wake up, gotta pack everything, get ready, and hit the road, and be back at night. Like we could be back.
Hey, family, get on them though, because like you need to go up.
No, definitely. I have to spend more time with my family and just more time with New York and in general, and just exploring, and it's something that I've probably undershot.
Gotcha.
drastically.
Before I was married and had children, I was going to New York a lot, man. And there's certain spots in New York. The spot that I fell in love with from a music standpoint is a spot called Cafe Wa. I don't know if it's where Jimi Hendrix was found, first seen though, and it's the environment. So it's kind of, I don't want to say it's the only reason why I would even say, I wouldn't say verses, but I would say like the band, that piece. It ain't like
Right.
verses at all, but the band,
Right.
as far as the level, it's all band, it's all live music. It's just real chill environment. Only they drink sangria pretty much only, so it ain't too much drunkenness going
Right,
on.
right,
It's
right.
still pretty composed, but
No, I mean New York is just there's just so many gems and there's so many just little Easter eggs and obviously like it's just an amazing place. That you could go on for days and hours.
Yo, your homeboy Michael Millions is about to open up for Nas on
Yeah.
Monday.
That's
Man, so
insane.
let me ask you this.
Surreal.
It's ridiculous. So it's like so
WTBR just put out an article.
Oh, really?
Same journalist that did the CBS piece for RVA Rap Elite.
shout out. Who's that guy? Shout him out.
Jason DeVissa.
Yo, join the podcast. This guy, thank you.
Yeah.
Because this is
yeah.
really what we need.
Young guy, like really young, just out of VCU.
This is what we need.
Absolutely.
For all platforms within our culture to thrive, we need people like him that's in positions
Absolutely.
to, let our voice be heard. But let me ask you this. So, having Michael opening up for Nas is like one of your boys getting drafted to the league. I mean, think about it. Like everyone growing up always say this. A lot of people wanted to hoop, they wanted to rap, they wanted to meet a certain level of success in those areas. Well, to be able to open for Nas, I would imagine is probably going to be one of those things for him that's going to be like that check. I mean, I don't even know if it was a but everyone has those aspirations. Bucket list move, right?
Absolutely.
But not just for him. You and Nicholas come with that movement. You're gonna be on the stage. Come on.
I don't know.
It has
I
to
don't
happen.
know.
I mean, it has.
Yeah, I mean, more than likely. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be up there rapping.
No, of
but,
course.
I mean, I'll definitely.
The fam, it's got to happen.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
because this is like.
I bought tickets anyway. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Like I bought tickets before, and it's funny thing is like I
bought it
bought
before he
tickets
was even on the
before
show.
He was on the show, but truthfully, I bought tickets with him in mind because like he went to something in the water and I didn't go. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things where like after it happened, it was like,
Yeah, should've
especially
went.
listening to
I felt
him,
the
it's like,
same way.
I should have went. Like I kind of like slept on that one, and I felt like with the Nas show, I was like, this is one of those things where I could sleep on it and I could say,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna spend the money. I'm not gonna do it, and then it comes, and then that's like, oh man, Mike's there.
What time is the show?
I'm not sure. I gotta look. I
Yeah.
think it's like. I don't want to lie.
I haven't got tickets yet
It's like
either.
6.
I've been
but
back
I
and
bought
forth.
tickets. Yeah, I bought those tickets.
If you're gonna sell them, let me
And
know.
somebody said early when they first
can get some
announced
money
it, they
off
were
of
like, yo, if they don't have Michael Millions or Radio B open up for Nas, then they're not doing it right. And so the irony of that is, that for that to happen.
And I'm praying for you guys, man. That this move could be a major play in the playbook.
For sure.
I mean, you obviously gonna meet Nas. It's gonna happen. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I pray and hope that he's inspired in some type of way, whether it's that he wants to buy 100 tracks, or he wants to make an introduction, or he wants to do a feature, or if he just wants to give some game. Anything that you can take from this moment is shot at the Michael Millions, but it's so big on behalf of the culture of hip hop in Richmond, and
For sure.
you as the mayor, of RVA Rap Elite, being in that space. I mean, I know that you guys are gonna maximize the moment. I'll buy your ticket if you don't, unless you're gonna make thousands of dollars with somebody else on it. If you need to get rid of it. 'Cause I've been struggling with it.
I'll probably end up using the ticket because if he has passes, you know what I'm saying? Like I would rather, he give
Move
it to
that way.
somebody that
Yeah.
like that, so because I'm sure he's gonna have people in there documenting and all that stuff. So
It's gonna be crazy. I can't wait to see the footage that comes from
it's
that.
gonna be insane. I'm super proud of him.
Look, I keep on dancing around about the whole politics things, but I mean, there's no way that you can see yourself doing that.
Nah. I just don't. Politics is real dirty and muddy, and it's oftentimes, and even though it's supposed to be about the people, it's a lot of times it becomes about other things, and it just wouldn't be something that I'm an artist. You know what I mean? I'm an artist. I'm not a politician. People will put that on you because they feel like you can thrive in those spaces.
But as an artist, though, do you manage yourself, or are you managed by someone else?
I manage myself.
So that's the thing about it. A lot of artists, though, the reason why people have this perception of you, in my opinion, a lot of artists are not good managers of stuff outside of their music.
Right.
You're managing different things, and I think that's why people see you in that way, because you can manage yourself.
Yeah, I get
it makes
that.
people feel
Sometimes
like you can
I
manage
forget
more.
That, because of it, right? But it's like, and that's the thing. It's like, yeah, I can manage more, but they're gonna be the things that are in my heart to manage.
I got you.
You know what I mean? I have a lot of things that I want to do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that I want to do for the people. And I want to spend my time in that way. I don't like, that's a job too.
That's why you guys are not doing the podcast anymore, right?
I don't want to do no job.
I mean, that's why y'all not doing the podcast. That was just another job, another thing.
No. The podcast is coming back. The only thing about the reason that we stopped the podcast just was because we were all so busy that no one was able to give it the proper care that it required.
Yeah.
So I felt like our content was awesome, and I felt like our desire to sit down together and record the podcast was awesome, but the process of distributing it and filming it and just promoting it even more so than anything was just not. It wasn't. No one was in place to really do that, facilitate it.
Hey, I'm open to any game you ever want to fill me in on. I mean, you've done it. I still go back and listen to some of the old podcasts on Spotify, SoundCloud. One of them.
Yeah, SoundCloud.
Yeah, and so
it's gonna come back. It's gonna when it comes back, it will be how it's supposed to be.
Gotcha.
I just couldn't. I'm just not one of those people. Like if
is that Nick's baby?
It was me and Nick's baby.
Yeah,
because
I wanted one of those. I wanted the.
At first, it was just gonna be the very first episode is just me and Nick.
What was the y'all had a hoodie or something?
Yeah, because so Late Bloomer.
Yeah, that's the late.
So and let me be clear with that, because that's one of the things that he it wants to be clear and transparent on too, is that there's Late Bloomer podcast, but there's Late Bloomer, the brand itself, which is his website and his brand.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Those hoodies, that clothes, that goes fast. It's gone.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been looking.
Yeah. Nah.
I feel like unless it's, if it's
see
there,
them
then
pop up
I want to
everywhere,
buy something.
and people always have them on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that clearly had an impact. I hate to rush, but we gotta close it in a little bit. I gotta get a few questions out here. NBA squad.
Man,
is that hard? It's not the Lakers.
Yeah, because no.
It's the Knicks.
It's any New York team.
Still a New Yorker.
So yeah. I mean, that's just how I grew up. When I was a kid, I was a Bulls fan, but that was because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So I root for other teams because there's no New York team that's you're gonna be able to root for to the end of the season, right?
They need to get rid of their owner.
So yeah, I root for LeBron. So even as a Laker, I root for LeBron.
Thank you.
Know
we accept all. We accept all.
Yeah. I show love to LeBron no matter where he's at, but I'm not gonna be one of those people that's like, yo, whatever team he's on, that's my team.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna root for them because I like to see people do great things. Like I really like seeing greatness. I like to see history be
I'm the same
made.
way.
So whenever it's like when Bron was with the Cavs and then there was the Warriors, there were years where I would be rooting for Bron and years where I would be rooting for the Warriors. Not because of anything favorable for one or the other, but just because of what that win would have meant.
Yeah.
So like when Bron first went back to Cleveland, that first year, I was rooting for them because I felt like if he won it the year he came back, that's
crazy.
Insane, right? And then when it's funny because he lost then, right? Then when the Warriors had the 82 game, or not the 82, the 70 something, 70 something wins. I was like, yo, they need to win with that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just have that and then not win a championship. Then it's no point.
Took it from
right?
him.
And then he took it from him.
Literally.
I'm like, so I'm wasting my time rooting for these people to do these things.
I just stick with the Lakers. I mean, I grew up a Lakers fan.
There's one team that I can say I'll always be a fan of in sports that you'll never have to worry about any type of ambiguity with me, and that's the New York Giants. I am a Giants fan. Here's the problem with that. I don't watch the NFL anymore. I haven't watched the NFL in 2 years, almost 3 years. Yeah. So like, ironically, we've been. From what I know, we've been playing the worst since I stopped watching.
Yeah. Just stop watching.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, let it be. That's fine, you know. But yeah, I'm a huge, I'm a diehard Giants fan. So
I don't really watch football much, man. It's like a lot of football conversations going around me, and it's just like, I pull for the Panthers because I'm, that's hometown, and I grew up like in Randall Cunningham, so I pull for the Eagles. I don't care. Because typically by the time we 3-3, basketball season's back, and I'm ready to rock. Oh, celebrity crush.
Celebrity crush. Nia Long.
All right, that's a good one. Hometown hero.
From Richmond?
Yeah.
D'Angelo.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Something you hate.
Something I hate. Racism.
Good. Chicken or fish?
Chicken.
Pork or beef?
Beef.
Next Richmond mayor could be
Mark Cheatham.
Wow, Daryl, shout out to Cheats. Oh my goodness, you're right. It really could.
That's a fact. They should stop this whole Radio Bees and Mayor campaign.
Oh yeah, boy, get behind Cheats.
That's the guy.
Hey, we're gonna make a small clip of this conversation too. Okay, we're gonna go get a campaign going.
Who else do you know can have a commercial for their podcast, and the mayor is on it, playing a role?
Yeah, nah, that's
what?
That's his. I don't know if he's accepted it or not, but he easily could have a strong role in politics. Easily. I mean,
he's already in politics.
Put it this way,
he works for Tim Kaine.
When I first moved to Richmond, let's say back in 2007, right? I was working for a legislator. I'm not gonna say his name. Too many unfortunate Richmond folks are supporting him anyway. I have a strong problem with it. But we played in this basketball game in the Massey Cancer Center. It was like the House versus the Senate. I was the only black dude there other than Cheatham. So I didn't know him at that time, but my first introduction into getting to know who he was was in that space when there was no other people who looked like us.
Right.
So that told me then, even though I didn't get to know who he was up until some years later.
And then he's so down to earth that he's he's most known for being a hip hop podcaster.
Yeah. And he did a speech at a graduation of VCU recently, which is his alma mater. You don't see things like that happen, particularly with people his age.
Right.
I mean, and a big inspiration to me too, honestly, because I sit back and watched his podcast for such a long time, and I said, I need to do something. So like, shout out to Mark Cheatham.
Yeah, that's my guy. That's my bro.
Let me see. Can you name five? Give me 5 Richmond artists that you feel like need more attention, that people need to start paying attention to. That's not Michael Millions. That's not Nicholas F. And that's not Illa Styles.
And not. Well, we already talked about Mutant Academy.
And not those guys.
Yeah. And we know Noah O.
We know.
So let's see. People that people should pay attention to. Man, that's so tough. Not when I say it's tough.
We're gonna use this to kind of wrap it up.
It's not tough because there's not enough. It's tough
hard
because there's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like if I give you 5, then I'm picking favorites.
Yeah.
So
I know. So I had to, but you're in that position.
So when I'm picking favorites, I like to pick them out of like what's closest to me, and then nobody can question that.
Yeah.
So it's like. Especially being in my position now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, and we're saying Richmond specific.
It's an endorsement for these guys who get it. If you don't get it, don't be offended. You know what I'm saying? But if you get it.
I want to be very. Well, okay, so look.
I already know what you could do. I think I know. we can't, and you can't just pick winners of the battle or the cipher. No, because those guys have obviously earned their status.
I'm not gonna just pick them, but I am gonna say first and foremost, I'm gonna say Vintage A.
No doubt.
No doubt. Because he's
won it 5 times, right?
Yeah, 5 times total. And I think, once he really
5 out of 8.
Well, 4 this season, 4 out of 6 this season, and one last season.
Okay.
Somebody that I do think is starting to get recognition, but because I'm a person that believes in momentum. So when there's momentum behind an artist, I feel like you should put more momentum behind them. I feel like people get in this thing where, the artist that is winning, I don't need to support them because they get enough.
Yeah, no.
But
you gotta keep going.
Order to get them beyond here or beyond a certain point, you have to keep pushing them, even especially when they're winning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a person that's been probably getting some notoriety lately, that's very talented and works hard is Sneeze.
Oh yeah. Young kid. He was like, how old is
17.
He? Oh my goodness. He's like, he really is. If you don't know this kid, I think the Sneeze Blesses You is the Instagram. Go check him out. You're gonna get that initial Eminem type of impression because he's a young white kid with blonde hair.
Right.
But
and he's very lyrical.
He's very lyrical. I do want him to hold the mic closer to his mouth though at RVA Rap Elite events because I was telling him and telling other people, y'all need to pay attention to this kid. But we need to hear him better. We need, we need the mic. And you was doing so much coaching and guiding. It's like you're doing MC 101 up there teaching guys. Because honestly, you rap fine. We heard you clear. It was very disturbing when people was not holding the mic.
That's a fact. Another young MC that I feel like should get some recognition, and I always like to speak highly on, is Smith Knight. He's another under 18
Smith
MC. Knight.
Okay.
He opened up for us at Flag on the Moon 4, but he won the contest, and I always talk about how he went about doing that. And I thought Broadberry was at least 18 and up.
Yeah.
And so when we rolled out the contest, I saw him start campaigning for the contest, and I'm like, he couldn't get into our Rap Elite events. That was like one of the things. So he used to do the ICA ones, and I had him come out to Virginia Union and do a cipher, but I knew he couldn't get into the 18 and up joint. So I hit him up and I'm like, hey, I said, did you turned 18? Like, I see you campaigning. He was like, nah. He said, I looked it up, and Broadberry's all ages. And I'm like, wow, like that's initiative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And take that initiative to know.
What's his name?
Smith Knight.
Wouldn't find him now.
He's a talented. He performed at Rap Elite one of our seasons. Also, I'll say I'm gonna say Trig.
Yep.
And you can check out these artists. I said I wanted to talk about this too with Rap Elite. It's beyond just a live event. Please make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the YouTube show, how we put that together. We're putting out another episode, I think, tomorrow. And basically we curate that like how Rap City used to be, or like an old Smack DVD, where so you have ciphers from the live event, but it's mixed in with music videos from artists in the city, interviews and different different types of content, and you'll start seeing more and more original content that we create and film for that show. But that, I think, is the biggest piece of Rap Elite.
And I want to plug something right there for our listeners who's still sticking around for the conversation. Go check out RVA Rap Elite. Check it out. It's critical. But at the same time, like, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Absolutely.
Share, push,
yes,
like.
Please.
You understand, this is something that has a lot of potential to go to another place. And it's just really a matter of which network is going to be the one to capture it, just like which visual artist is going to be the person who's going to do Radio B's mural. Because I almost got out of this podcast without saying that, but I'm shooting out any visual artist. If you're out there, you need to be known for being the guy that did it, because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of who's going to be confident enough to do the work and do it in a respectful way. Your skills got to be tight.
I think it's that. I mean, that would be an honor. I address.
I could do it, but I can't do it well.
I mean, really, it would be an honor. I feel like, when you're walking around living, it's not something you can expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't care who got one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say I'm supposed to get one because that's not something that you typically get when you're still walking around.
But it's for us to give people their flowers while they living.
If somebody if somebody feels inspired to paint me, then that is going to be probably the highest honor I've received, next to doing the lecture at Virginia Union.
I'm putting it out there in the air. I'm just hoping someone grabs it.
But I don't want to not, because now you got me wanting to make sure I get these 5 people out.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So Trig, definitely check out Trig. He's putting out some dope visuals. He put out a dope project this year. Easy Leo, he is somebody that's close to the fold, but he's an MC that he's one of the illest lyricists that you will find in Richmond and beyond, and just in general. And I feel like he's definitely underplayed and doesn't get and I mean, he's kind of like reclusive in the sense of how he releases music. He takes his time with that. So and I'll end with, we got to put a lady in the mix, and I think the dopest female MC in the city is Cole Hicks.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
she's real nice. I remember the first Lil Nicky CD.
Yeah. See, people don't know about that. People don't remember Lil Nicky.
Like, I remember
she got battle rap roots too. I be trying to get her on Southpaw. She's considered it a couple times. I really would like to get her and my sis First Lady Flames. If I can get First Lady Flames and Cole Hicks to battle,
we putting it out there. We putting it out there.
They popped off to each other one time outside, and that we instigated.
We need it,
but we need that.
The culture needs it. There's a lot of young girls out there right now too who need to see that.
Get Cole Hicks Mayday album. It's on all streaming platforms and all of that. She's super dope. And she'll be DJing Michael Million's set at the Nas show.
Oh, okay. Word. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh. So I mean, Lonnie B is the DJ for the night, but Cole Hicks, which is also, she got a lot of her DJ game from Lonnie B.
Okay.
So it's it's a full circle kind of moment again. It's a
pretty, like I said. Hey, look, thank you, man.
Oh no, thank you.
I could keep going, but the time, I don't want the tape to stop on us in the middle of the conversation. Sure. But man, this has been a great conversation. You'll be back?
Yeah. Absolutely. Anytime. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, like you said, there's plenty of things we can get into.
I mean, like I said before, anything that I can do to be supportive to what you're doing, whether it's on this side of the table, if it's in the street, in the community, me and my guy here with Full Motion Media, we'd love to come out and support that. Thanks and much respect to everyone who's watched this hour and a half long podcast. I appreciate your attention span and your willingness to stay with us throughout. It's another Full Motion Media project, and again, we're really happy to have you. Please subscribe, share, like, post, give feedback. Anything that you can provide in the inbox is definitely appreciated. And you guys got jobs, you know what I'm saying? I need sponsors. I mean, it takes money to do this. That's I mean, all these cords and cameras and lights and things that's running around. I'm not the skilled guy behind it, but I'm invested into the craft and the passion. And I'm trying to bring business and money to the people who support me, even to the guests. I want to be in a position where I can, help influence people in a way more than just giving them a position on a platform.
Right.
I want to really be able to give back. And so organizations and people who are in positions of influence who can aid that, then...
And the same thing with Rap Elite. We are definitely in the market for sponsors and funding and people that just want to be, aligned with the culture. So definitely let us know, in that realm, in respect too.
You fail to ask, you fail to know.
That's a fact. All right?
So just remember, to all the listeners out there, you're all artists. You all are creating the best thing that you'll ever create in your life, and that is your life. So make the most of it. Appreciate you joining in for episode 9. The artist Radio B.
Bless.
Community leader, philanthropist, man, about to be husband. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you soon.